Alright, and I'm back with another update to my restoration project. This is, again, my 1987 GT Pro Freestyle Tour. If you've seen the other videos, you pretty much saw that it looked about like this, assembly-wise, when I pulled it out of the corner of the garage late last summer. It is now February of 2011, so it's been quite a while. I've gathered a lot of parts. Most of that time was spent gathering parts, sure, but most of that time was spent with the bike off at the painters. I actually shipped it off to Lou in Florida, and although he did a great job, it did take him quite a while to get it back to me. So it took about 2.5 months, something like that, between when I shipped it and when I finally got it back. But wasn't in a huge hurry. I used that time to collect the parts, so it was okay. Anyway, so it's February now, and I've got it pretty close to what it was before. The only thing that I'm missing is the pedal on this side. Obviously, I'm not going to just install a single pedal. That's all I had left on the original bike. Somehow the other pedal was missing, and all kinds of weird stuff were missing from the bike. Like, for some reason, the top gyro plate was missing, and the bearings were missing for the gyro. I don't know why they were missing, because the stem was intact. Somebody, and I don't recall doing it, somebody must have taken off the stem and taken the top plate and the gyro plate. Don't know why, but it was missing. Anyway, as you can see, those are back, but we are missing the pedal. Still working on finding the Graphite X pedals. Kind of rare, kind of expensive, especially if you try to find like new old stock or something like that. Since I'm going to write it, and I know the pedals are the first things to go, probably not going to go and pay $100, $150 for the MKS Graphite X's. Same thing with the SR474s, which were the original equipment on the bike. Probably not going to buy those. I may go with some new school pedals, actually, because seriously, they're just pedals, and although a lot of these parts I paid more than I needed to, just because I wanted the original parts, the pedals are not something I'm really looking forward to paying more, and I don't know, I may pay up to $40, $50 for some, but anyway, enough about those pedals. Everything else is looking pretty good. Here are the Tech 7 levers. You'll see that Lou did an excellent job restoring them. I actually sanded down the locking lever, but the bolts and the adjuster here are still kind of rough looking. I did soak them in an acid bath, and it did clean up some, but I'm going to see if I can do a little something about that, because they look a little rough. Maybe get a sander or something, and like a wheel sander or something with wire bristles, and see if I can clean that up a little bit. But overall, the levers themselves look really good. There's still some rough spots there, but it looks a lot better than it used to be. So considering that they were pretty beat up, they look good. The mallet stem looks really good. Those are the original stem bolts. I just soaked them in an acid bath, and they came out fairly well. The biggest difference you're going to see from the original is that I have these Power Series cranks now. It took me a long time to get these cranks. They're not offered a whole lot on the BMX Museum forums. They do come up from time to time, but they're very expensive. I'm almost embarrassed to say how expensive they are, but they're very expensive. And I always wanted these cranks, and I was a kid. It was the only part of the bike that really wasn't team model. I did upgrade the bike to 48s from Mags, so I didn't really miss the Super Lace wheels. And in fact, I had RL Edge 48 spoked wheels, and I do have those. I rebuilt those. I found some new old stock, and I had them built, and they look pretty good. So it's going to have RL Edge wheels. What else? You see that the stickers aren't on there right now, and I do have them, and they look pretty good. But I'm not going to put those on until the very end, because I'm still working on it, and I don't want to bang them up. Which is a little silly, because the whole bike's going to get banged up. But see a couple notes on the gyro. This is the original Gyro 1. This plate I actually bought separately on eBay for like $6, which is kind of expensive, but I needed that upper plate, and this guy was just selling the upper plate. I had the lower plate already, and this is actually a Gyro 2 bearing. So it looks like they line up really closely. I was told that they're compatible, but you can see that they do line up fairly well. Probably too close to the camera there, but the epoch headset. This is a new race. This is a new race. Well, you can't see it that well. It's right there. Those and the bearings are brand new. There's new old stock. The top cap was actually donated to me by Rividude from the BMX Museum. I did have the original Freestyle top cap, but the threads had stripped out. So he was kind enough to send me that top one. So thanks again, Rividude. And what else? So that's pretty much, the headset's pretty much all new. And I also did for the cranks, although the cranks are in pretty good shape, I did have to sand them down. They're not that great, the sanding. I spent a long time sanding them, and I probably could spend a little bit more time. But, it's going to have to do. I may take them off and sand them a little bit more, but I think they're pretty close. The power disc was actually really bad. I did sand that down too, so it's one of those things where you got to start off with a pretty heavy grade to get off all the gunk, and then upgrade to the finer sandpaper and go at it for a while with that, and then the even finer sandpaper until you get a nice finish. So it turned out pretty well, actually. When I got the cranks, it did come with sealed bearings and the spindle, and the spindle caps are actually really good, and so are the bolts. These might even be replacement bolts, I'm not sure. But everything's in pretty good condition except for the bearings, and although they spun, they weren't that great. So I ended up buying some Tioga bearings and putting those in, and those seem to work very well. The 990s came out fairly well too. These are actually new old stock pads. They're bent right now because, as you can see, I don't have wheels on them. And I don't want this to tip over. And so I didn't tighten them up so that they don't put a whole lot of pressure on them, but those are brand new stock. I don't know how they're going to work because they're so old. They're probably 20, 25 years old, and that material for the brake pads probably isn't in the best of shape. It seems pretty hard, and the RL Edge wheels, I've heard, and I kind of remember them, that the surface of the wheels is kind of slick. So they may break like shit, and that's the case. I'm not going to have any problem putting on new school pads just to get better braking. Same goes with the Nippon levers, the Nippon brakes up front. I have them assembled, and they look pretty good. They were painted white. They were silver. I took a marker and painted in the Nippon logo on them. Let me actually get that for you. I have them here, even though they're not installed. I'll give you a preview. So, yeah, that's what they look like. They came out really well. I think they were pretty much new when I got them. Again, they were silver, and I just went in there and filled that in with acrylic paint. I let it dry, and then I kind of just scraped off the excess paint, and they came out fairly well. I also added a brand new old stock adjuster. Boy, it looks like it's out of focus there. But anyway, that's brand new. And these pads came with the brakes when I bought them, but these aren't the ones I remember the Freestyle pads in. Again, this is really, really hard. It almost feels like a freaking rock. So I don't think those are going to break too well. So I think I might go with new school brake pads on those, and again on the back, but we'll see. So yeah, this is the bike as it stands now. I do have most everything. The only things I'm missing now are the front brake cable, which isn't too bad at all. I'm planning to put an Odyssey slick cable in it. That's only like $5, maybe $10 with shipping. And the pedals. And that's it. I have everything else. Everything. Every seat clamp, seat post seat, wheels, tubes, rim strips, tires, the gyro cables, sticker set. Have everything except for those two things. So we'll see what I end up going with on the pedals, but the slick cable is definitely going to be what I'm going to buy for the front cable. Anyway, this has been another update to the restoration project. The next one will probably be once it's complete, and hopefully that'll be pretty soon. See you next time.